A chance to be world champions again. And João Pedro Magic, Chelsea are into the World Cup final. Welcome back to FFB, amigos. And today we're traveling around the road in the beautiful Cali, Colombia, which I'm happy to all my Colombian friends. Huge shout out. I love your country. I love traveling here. And last time I had to work, man, so I missed the video of the prior match. So my apologies to you guys. But this one, I made it a point to make sure I can escape work and get the video done even now in the hotel as I travel. Same thing will be for the final, but I will take care of you guys. Let's get into this. I'm super happy. I'm just super excited. All around, great vibes because João Pedro brought some magic. We wanted somebody in that number 9 position that does this right, that does this good. It's happening. And we'll address the haters later. Let's get into the game, but I promise that we'll talk about the haters, what people are saying about the cup, and we'll get into some details about that. So in pre-match, no Reece James, but he had a little bit of a niggle or an injury. They were saying, we're all terrified as Chelsea fans. I don't want no James on the field. It didn't come. He didn't play. Absolutely. And Colwell wasn't available. Tossing comes in, big, tall boy. That works for me. I think he's decent, so I wasn't worried. The one I am confused about from the starting lineup, guys, and you that have been watching me for a while, and I think every Chelsea fan feels the same. Nkunku. Why, man? Why Nkunku? Why do we play Nkunku? Please go to Bayern. Look, if he stays, I'll love him. I'll love every Chelsea player, and I'll do my best to support and be positive. I just don't get it. And today, I made a note later in the match. We'll see, or I'll get into it. But when he doesn't suck, he's unlucky. And we'll talk about that today. But that was sort of what we saw in the highlight. Really strong team. We had João Pedro, who is doing some cool stuff, man, that we'll talk about later in terms of movements and give and goes and one-touch plays that he's trying to pull off. Some will work, some don't. But he's being very, very, very aggressive, very creative, very incisive, which is something that I think sometimes we were missing. He beats the ball not only on power, he wins the ball with the center backs, but he wins it with speed and he drops down deep and he does some very interesting plays, which I think is going to be interesting for us. But at the beginning of the game, Chelsea start really well. We dominated. The reality is we dominated the whole match. There were some passages of play where we didn't do well. We got to remember Fluminense wasn't there. They're not at the top of their game either, but they're a very powerful team, very traditional, very organized with a coach that I think has been in that team 6 times back. Renato's been there and back. Renato Gaucho. He's been there and back to that club several times at this stage. So it's really interesting, that phenomenon. And the beauty, one of the beautiful things about this game was to see, Thiago Silva, Thiago Silva. Man, Chelsea fans, we love that dude. What a legend, 40 years old. Had a great match, to be honest. I mean, little things here and there, but he's still a player that I think, next to a youngin, he would still be playing in Europe. I'm not sure at what level, but absolutely, he's got great knowledge of the game. You can see him coaching throughout. That's what I was thinking. We had somebody of that experience in our team. He was literally coaching on the field. They used to say this about Mascherano, and a lot of coaches used to say that had Mascherano, that it's having like the secondary coach on the field, because he really reads the game really well and he's giving instructions constantly. But it was a beautiful thing to see. And I think we're going to go from, Thiago Silva to, João Pedro, João Pedro. And amazing, dude. 2 great goals. Minute 17. He capitalized on an error that Fluminense, they're playing out, not from the back, but they're playing a high line at that point. They're like trying to progress, and they play a pretty crappy pass that he's sharp, he's there. He's savvy and sharp, and he sort of recovers. And I don't remember if it's Cucurella or Neta that just do a run, but he's back on that play. He recovers, he's there, and he opens his body a little bit up, and there's the curler sitting there. He doesn't get enough pressure from the defender. It's there. I screamed and I'm like, curl it in, baby. That shot that we know, those FIFA players, just curl it into the top corner, and he manages to do it. Just chef's kiss. Lovely, fantastic. They didn't close him down, so somebody got an easy assist thanks to his recovery and his goal. So that was really impressive and it was beautiful. And then on the 35th minute, Chalwa is unlucky, and that's another thing. I think I'm gonna make a special video, guys. At times, I think about the penalties, especially the handball. Man, it's so tricky. I don't know what to think anymore sometimes. They get awarded the penalty, Fluminense. And by the way, to the other creators, try a little bit harder. Like I know I'm Hispanic and it's easy for me, but they're like Fluminense. They're calling the team like Fluminense, like Matisse calls it Fluminense. What are they? Just like listen one time. Fluminense, you can say that. Fluminense, fine. But Fluminense, where does that come from? Fluminense, come on. And it's not like Noah FC, right? It's a feeder club. It's a club, and you guys saw when João Pedro scored, he did not celebrate. Not because some people were saying, oh, because he's Brazilian. Not because he's Brazilian. He came out of Fluminense. So there was an ex-player curse waiting to happen because Thiago Silva, we know he could win a header, and he could have punished us. And certainly us having our striker, which is probably one of the reasons, we believe in a lot of these curses, the law of the ex-player. And that's one of the reasons sometimes you see for certain people line up because of that against their old teams. And maybe that was a little bit influenced the decision today for Maresca to play him, which I thought there was more enough reason to play him, and he should be the one starting over Jackson. But who knows? Let's see. We saw some of the action later, and we'll get into that. But as the game goes on, minute 56, the other one was a golazo. This one was a golazo. There's nothing more beautiful. Well, there's many things more beautiful, but one of the most beautiful things that you can see in football is when somebody smashes, hits the post, and it goes in. And that's exactly what we got. João Pedro had all the work to do. It wasn't just an easy strike, but it's a sensational strike, and he scores a second one, smashes into the post. Beautiful. At that point, I made a note. It's like, are we in love? Are we in love, João Pedro? Are we Chelsea fans in love with you? Is there some feelings? I don't want to get too carried away. I don't consider this preseason. This is a real tournament. We'll talk about that later. But we saw Nkunku in preseason when he was about to join. We've seen Mark Yu do wonderful stuff. And it's not the same thing. But this is higher level. And certainly, now that we're through, we're going to talk about that in the end. Level up, a leveling up situation. We're going to gain some experience points and hopefully a World Cup. And hopefully they go to extra time, suffer, get murdered, and whoever we play has a rough time. So I'll be excited to try to watch that game because, guys, to be honest, they sent me out here on a conference. And I'm supposedly I can escape. I'm going to be speaking around that time. So I'm going to try to move some stuff around and see if I can get to watch it live. But if not, I do nerd out, man. I'm going to watch the game, the full game, certainly afterwards, but my video might come in late. Just a warning on that. But after that 65th minute, Chelsea, I put 68 in control. It's done and dusted. Like anything, there were many notes I made after that in the game, but it was done and dusted because we had total control of the game. That's what having Caicedo in the team means, really. And man, we lined up. I mean, if you think about it, to have a midfield three, if that's what we want to call it at times. And again, we have the wild card left back Cucurella coming in and out, which again, dude, that guy can run. And but however, I don't understand why pundits on TV, if you guys see, they always line us up as a 4-2-3-1. Now they're lining us up as a 4-3-3. And I'm assuming that's coming in from the coach too, that when he turns in his lineups. But we don't play that way, right? I mean, it depends on the balance of the game, and we'll get into that. And right now, it's not. We'll see what happens during the season. But usually, it's a three at the back with that box of four and the two wide players and striking, and somebody carrying the line as a 9. And sometimes we do allow our players to play wide, especially a right back and left back. Our left back does not actually, sometimes wide, sometimes in the inside channel for Cucurella to invert that inverted DM role, although it seems to be changing lately. And certainly Malo Gusto, which, look, I want to address Malo Gusto pretty quick here. People have been trashing him all the time. Now, I've seen a weakness that I admit he has. And I get accused of being a little too positive about Chelsea and their players sometimes. And, I'm trying to see the bright side of a very young player. They're like, get rid of him. Are you crazy? You don't get rid of a player that is that young, that had the season that he had last season. has the potential that he has, especially because, and this is why I think Maresca has faith in him. Please pay attention to what's being asked of him, the demands that are being put on him. He's trying to. He's called upon to do some wild-ish, man. He's supposed to drop into the middle to the M, run up into a 10, do all this kind of crazy stuff. When he plays a little bit wide, more traditional role, he does great. And today he put in some amazing crosses. He played well up and down the field, and I think that's a great rotational player at the very least. However, he did get substituted later, and I was happy to see Reece James come back in. When I heard injury, every time I hear injury, every time he sneezes, I freaked out. And I thought that was the case now. We'll have to see what happens. I was worried about the AC noise. It kicked in. It's hot. It's hot over here, y'all. It's hot out here. People be freaking out hot out here. Letting y'all know. Kind of like in the States, kind of like our team. But, yeah, I'm happy to see that come in. And then we saw Madueke come in, and that's kind of weird, right? There's a lot of speak of him, talk about him leaving. I think this transfer news is always bad for Chelsea, all this movement, but hopefully we'll be past it soon. So we made it past the semifinals without a doubt. We were never doubted throughout the game, but I do want to point out something, because there were times where we were a little bit boring side to side, and in the past when Palmer would save our ass, it was usually because he would take it upon himself to break away from that. And he would take on 2-3 players and take a shot. And that's kind of not working for him lately, to be honest. And he cuts inside like he's going to take a shot a lot when he's on the right-hand channel. And then he does the really wide pass, which worked once, but for Nkunku, that just missed a terrible chance. And also, Nkunku missed a header, just free header. 2 meters from goal. Not acceptable. And so he's doing that a lot, and that's really not working out for him. And something that he's not doing, I don't know if you guys noticed, but João Pedro twice tried to find him with a flick that he didn't see coming. Like, he didn't do the run. So as a 9, he bullies the center back. A ball is played into him. He leans on the defender and just like tries to do a heel or a flick, assuming that Palmer's running in with him, running in behind him, and he wasn't, which was interesting to see that. But I think if that kind of play they figure out, and they do, olvídate, man. Forget about it. That's the kind of stuff that breaks the pattern, right? So we're doing this side-to-side boring thing back-to-back, but then you do boom, a little flick like that, and you're through. And that's a beautiful thing. And I really hope that we start seeing that. Going back to the haters going to hate. I don't understand. I don't get it. Let's forget about it. I think people always underestimate South American football. They underestimate. I realize now a lot of it's down to, look, my idols, to be honest, the creators, the British people, be it Mark Goldbridge or whoever. I really admire them, and I'm grateful to their influence for me to become a creator for Chelsea and for football. But they're just miserable, negative. There's nobody in the stadium, and there's like 90-something% or 100% in some of the cases. The best teams are not there. The best teams are there based on the rules, right? Like a World Cup, in a World Cup qualifier, for example, in South America, it takes 2 years to qualify. You're playing games for 2 years. So if it turns out that the last 6 months before the campaign and the other campaign, you're the best team in the world, but you were ish-T for a year and a half, you're not going to make it, sister, brother, mister, dude, dudette. It's not going to happen. So the same applies here. Yes, just win a Champions League. Manchester United, win in the case of Mark Goldbridge, if somebody would have picked up a Champions League like Manchester City did, they'd be in there. Or if they had the highest salary in their federation, those are the rules, man. And it's a 4-year thing, so that's the way it is. So now that we're in the final, Chelsea, please, let's be world champions. What a thing to be able to say, we're going to play PSG or Real Madrid. What a beautiful semifinal that I'm going to miss half of at least tomorrow, but I'm really excited, man. I think that's going to be a great game. Those haters that are not paying attention they're sluggish. It doesn't look like the European players don't care too much. This guy at Tuck Sport, Martin Keown, had to be an Arsenal dude, obviously. And he was like, they don't, seems like the European, they weren't too involved, or Someone being exited from the club like Atletico. Of course, they're bothered. Every professional, serious professional wants to win. It's humiliating to get your ass kicked by PSG, get 4-0. Are you kidding? Get out of here, man. Football elite players are highly competitive. And I think they really care about that. And the title to call yourself the world champion for 4 years is really amazing and something that I think this can and probably I think it will. I think it can. I think it's more likely that it will become something big over the few years and be the first one that won the World Cup. The Club World Cup might be a thing that people kill themselves over and only comes around every 4 years to have in the record books. So I think that's a huge thing. And I'm excited that Chelsea were in the final, baby. We're in the final, and these young boys get a chance to put another title under their belt, and fucking the power of feeling like the world champions and defeating hopefully a PSG because we got lucky on the way up here. We got the easy teams, but it's not our fault that like other teams screwed up. Other bigger teams, we could have faced bigger teams if they would have done better against the Brazilians who are coming out of their group. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. These happens in these tournaments. But certainly at some point you got to defeat a monster, and now we're gonna pick the biggest team in history versus the biggest current team in the world and the best team in the world. We're gonna have to face them in the final. So whatever happens, that's great. You're gonna tell me our boys are not gonna be super excited to win that game and put one over them. So next time that we see them in the Champions League, there's that pressure that we beat them in the World Cup and we have the title. Get the hell out of here, man. Of course it matters. Of course we care. We want that money. We're going to do it. Come on, Chelsea. And as always, Chelsea fans, and to my team, thank you today for the goals. Thank you, João Pedro. João Pedro. What an amazing couple of goals, dude. We needed someone like that. Please stay at that level. Please stay at that level. Excited. We're going to play the final. I think it's like one of the happiest things. It's much more than a conference league to me, like much more, and very exciting for those that are real fans of football worldwide that don't like to complain or bitch and moan. That we're positive people. We're enjoying it, and I'm just lucky that it's Chelsea. If it was any other team, I would still be watching it. I'll still be excited, especially from the quarterfinals onwards. So excited. Let's go there. Let's go, Chelsea. Thank you, players. Let's become world champions. And as always, come on, you Blues.